Everyone knows LeBron James is one of, if not the greatest basketball prospect to ever come out of high school. But some people don't know that LeBron was also an all-state football player, accumulating over 750 yards and 11 touchdowns on just 42 catches his sophomore season. He was an absolute freak of an athlete, and it didn't take long for schools like Florida State and Ohio State to be interested in him. By junior year, he realized that basketball was his ticket, so he never pursued football at the next level. So I was curious, what if LeBron did end up playing football in college? What would have happened? We take over the football career of 6'8" LeBron James at his senior season at St. Vincent St. Mary's High School. LeBron was quickly becoming a polished route runner in addition to his ridiculous athleticism. At 6'8" and 235 pounds, defenders were too small to jam him at the line, and he'd routinely throw a cornerback off him to get open. The only chance that cornerbacks had was if they played off and had a great drive on the ball, which they did on this play, forcing LeBron's first drop. But that was a very minor speed bump on his way to dominating Marion High School. There were three very obvious schools on LeBron's radar: the University of Ohio, the University of Miami, and USC in Los Angeles. And there was no doubt he was going to have his pick of the litter if he had a couple of games like this one, catching this short pass and taking it the distance, showing off his speed. Going into the second game of his senior season, LeBron James was already a 5-star prospect, and the only thing he had to make sure was that he continued playing at the level he had been and not getting hurt. Even though St. Vincent St. Mary's was an incredible basketball school, the football program was struggling, and LeBron had to be the one to try and change that single-handedly. But it seemed like no matter how many times LeBron got the offense all the way down into the red zone, there was some sort of problem that was going to pop up. And on this play, the quarterback Steve Merkel would hold on to the ball for too long, fumbling it, and the defense would recover and take it the distance to tie this game up. The Marietta corner who was guarding LeBron clearly didn't respect him enough, because he let him get right past him, and after he tried to bring him down, would shake him off, and LeBron would take it the distance. That play would be enough to open up the floodgates, and St. Vincent St. Mary's was going to continue to feed LeBron all the way to another victory, posting just under 400 yards. Even though LeBron was a relatively polished route runner, that was still the weakest part of his game in relation to his athleticism and speed. So it was great to see routes like this one that will get him open. And the very next play, he'd be able to complete this catch in traffic to give St. Vincent St. Mary's the lead. But it was hits like this one that made LeBron consider, why am I even playing football right now when I can make $1 billion playing basketball? And after trying to force the ball to LeBron in this red zone situation, the defense would intercept it, but they would just keep feeding him every time that they were in the red zone, and more often than not it worked. After establishing himself as one of the best athletes in the country, the St. Vincent head coach put LeBron in at kick returner, and he wasn't doing as great as you would think. Well, I don't know how great you would think a 6'8" receiver would be at kick returning, but he just didn't have the short area quickness. But what he did have was the ability to get open and blow up dudes that were smaller than him. St. Vincent had to settle for a field goal on that possession, and that wasn't good enough for LeBron, as he would truck the cornerback and make a couple of guys miss on his way to getting into Shelby territory. LeBron would then find the soft spot in the zone and sit in it for a touchdown, giving them a 10-0 lead, but another quick score just before the half would put this game out of reach, as they'd become 4-0. St. Vincent St. Mary's offense was clearly being run through LeBron James, and being one of the most dominating figures in all of football, it was easy to see why. This game was tied up at 7 in the first quarter, but it wouldn't take long for Bron and the offense to break through and take the lead again. Bron's ability to get open was making him dangerous, but it was even more dangerous when guys just simply didn't even cover him. And after being backed up all the way at the 2-yard line, Merkel would find LeBron over the middle, as Bron would make a huge gain and continue to set St. Vincent's up into scoring position. And all of these games were having a similar theme. St. Vincent's would go up so much in the first half that the leads would be insurmountable, and after getting almost every single offer in the country, Alabama was the final one. There were just a couple of games left before the state playoffs had started, and LeBron kept dominating, but he wanted to see if he can get away with something sneaky. He'd run around the defender out of bounds and catch the ball for the touchdown, but it would obviously get called back. It didn't really matter though, because he was doing anything he wanted to out there, and he was dragging defenders. His run after catch ability was something to be feared, especially for 5'8" corners that were trying to bring him down. And again, just before the half, LeBron would get St. Vincent's down to the goal line, and he'd be able to score just a couple of plays later. And I think he just wanted to have fun bullying kids out there, because there was no reason for for him to be out there in the third, as he finished with 18 catches for 280. It was the final regular season game of LeBron James's high school career with St. Vincent St. Mary, and after getting every single offer in the country, the only thing that was on his mind now was the state playoffs, and all they needed to do was get out of this game alive. But it was tied at 7 in the second quarter, and that's when LeBron decided to turn it on, as he'd break off the press, truck the safety, and then break a couple of more tackles on his way to the touchdown. This team had the most momentum in the state of Ohio going into the high school playoffs, and Braun was going to carry him. In the first round of the Ohio State playoffs, LeBron would catch this pass in the first quarter, setting up St. Vincent's into great field position, and this great run and catch on the sideline would help set up the first touchdown of the game, giving them a 7-0 lead. They were working their way down the field, and it looked like they were going to go up 14-0, but after Merker threw this very late out route, the corner would intercept it, and Braun would have to chase him down. But you know Braun loves chase downs. After Merker screwed them over that last possession, Braun would take things into his own hands once again and would work his way all the way down the field and get open for another touchdown. At the end of the second quarter, this catch over the middle would be the nail in the coffin, as St. Vincent St. Mary would go on to advance to the next round. LeBron and St. Vincent St. Mary's were taking on Vermilion in the second round of the playoffs, a school that sounds like it should be in Pokemon. Actually, I'm pretty sure that is a city in Pokemon. And in the spirit of Pokemon, LeBron was trying to catch them all, as he would catch this pass on the sideline to get into Vermilion territory, and just a few plays later would run a perfect route for the touchdown and the lead. It wasn't really surprising that LeBron was running a lot of his routes over the middle for as big as he was, because defenders weren't going to be punishing him, he was going to be the one delivering the punishment. And after going up by 21 in the first quarter, this game was all but over, but LeBron was going to continue to do his thing, working on his craft to get better, and would end up looking like Megatron out there, but had the tools to be even better, as Braun would finish this game with 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. LeBron was shedding the Mount Vernon defenders like the people on The Biggest Loser were shedding fat. This St. Vincent St. Mary's team built their identity around throwing the ball to LeBron, and it obviously made sense, but a lot of people were wondering if they were too one-dimensional because of it. But if Braun was doing things like this, I don't think it mattered how many times that they threw to him, and I don't think it mattered that they knew that they were going to him. LeBron would obviously have another great game, but Steve Merker stepped up and had the biggest game of his career, going for over 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. LeBron James made it to the state championship game in Columbus, Ohio, playing in the stadium of the team that was favored to land him after his final game. And remember how I said he wasn't that great at kick returns? Well, Braun would prove me wrong, as he would take the opening kickoff over 50 yards to set themselves up for this possession. But even though Braun would get all the way down to the 5-yard line, on this 3rd and goal, he would drop the pass to give him the lead, but they would go right back to him on 4th and goal, and he'd score the touchdown. Merker and LeBron were on the exact same page, as they would complete this whole shot in between the defense, putting them in another position to go and score. And who else would the ball go to but LeBron? This punt return would help set them up to go up 21-0 in the first quarter of the state championship game, and this game was over before it even started, as LeBron would completely take over in the first quarter, scoring another touchdown. And after having the best game of his career, there was only one thing left to do: make his college decision. There's only one school that he would go to, and they just so happened to have his next jersey number.